Test 1 2, test 1 2, test 1 2. Testing, test 1 2, test 1 2. Can you hear me loud and clear? Loud and clear. Yep.
Let's go!
Check. Am I coming through? Am I coming through?
Let's go!
Classic Melbourne stirring it up yet again after a glorious week of weather we've had with sunshine and blue skies. It's been a gloomy, dark and wet day today right across our city. However, we are in for just the treat on this damper Friday evening. Naciol Stadium is the backdrop of this round 25 clash between Hume City and Melbourne Victory. These two sides both having completely different narratives on either end of the spectrum. For Hume City, they're holding on by just the very skin of their teeth to that last spot of the finals. That sixth position that they've been situated in over the last couple rounds is at stake here this evening. And it has been for quite some time because they've had a fast-charging Dandenong City right on their tail. Only 1 point separates Hume and Dandenong City, both who were in the finals last year. This time round, there can only be one who makes it through to the finals. And for Melbourne Victory, well, they're on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. They're fighting for survival to stay in the National Premier League entirely. Currently, they're in the relegation zone, tied on points with the Melbourne Knights and 1 point behind the Port Melbourne Sharks, who are currently sitting in the playoff spot at the moment. Melbourne Victory need a win desperately to get themselves out of the immediate relegation zone and give themselves a chance to fight to stay in the top flight competition for the 2026 season. A lot to play for here tonight for both of these two sides, who will ultimately walk away with the 3 points and change the complexity of their season as we head into the final round of the NPL Victoria season next week. I'm Stefan Georgic. It's great to be with you here on this Friday evening, wherever you may be tuning in right around Victoria and Australia for this exciting, mouth-watering clash here tonight. Both of these two teams have completely different trajectories, as I just mentioned. Who will come out on top here this evening? A lot to play for. Looking at the lineups in this one here today, only the one change for Hume City coming in here. Mehmet Usal is in. No Lloyd Isgrove for this one. Unfortunately, their star player, he is out. The lineup for Hume City looks like this. We have number 3, Zahi Addis. Number 5, Mason Tatafu. Number 6, Aaron Reardon. Number 9, Godfrey Debele. Number 11, Josh Bingham. Number 12, Mark Ochang. Number 13, Mehmet Usal. Number 14, Harry Ashcroft. Number 20, Damon Camilleri. Number 21, Joshua O'Kane. And number 45, Robert Harker. And for Melbourne Victory, their lineup: number 2, Linus Burke. Number 4, Damian Bozanovsky. Number 8, George Mihaliadis. Number 13, John Paikopoulos. Number 21, Jonathan Kellis. Number 18, Lucas Alessi. Number 20, Parker Williams. Number 22, Patrick Wall. Number 24, James Lackey. Number 28, Charlie Gorevsky. And in goal, number 30, Daniel Graskovsky. So the first corner already this evening coming Hume City's way. They're going to look to try and kick off proceedings here. 3 change-ups for Melbourne Victory from their last clash that they had against Dandenong Thunder. Out is Kane Razmovsky, along too with Daniel Lazarevsky and Luka Kolic. In this week are Jonathan Kellis, James Lackey and Charlie Gorevsky. So the three changes, should I say, for Melbourne Victory, and just the one for Hume City in this one. Possibly quite a big blow as well for Hume City, not having their star player in Lloyd Isgrove in this one. However, Hume City still are a strong team with the lineup that they have out there. So we'll see how they fare here this evening against Melbourne Victory. We're going to look to kick off proceedings. Usal going to kick it out off the Harker, and already we have the first offside of the evening. So glad you could be with us wherever you are tuning in right around Victoria and Australia. This is a matchup that has huge implications on it. And it'll be interesting to see which one of these two teams can live up to the pressure. Again, Hume City fighting for that final spot in the finals. Melbourne Victory, they're just fighting to stay in the competition entirely. And already a collision there between Tatafu and Melbourne Victory. Now we're going to look to try an attack here early on. As a brute from well beyond range. They're taken by Lucas Alessi. And down is James Lackey here directly in front of us, in front of the Hume City substitutions bench. Our referee as well today is Bailey Panuto. So nothing awarded there on that collision between Mason Tatafu and James Lackey. Ball going to be kicked towards this near side. Bingham off to Usal. Here's Usal, who's got a whole cluster of Melbourne Victory players directly in front of him. Instead, it will be Melbourne Victory's ball here. And it will be Linus Burke to throw it in. The captain for Melbourne Victory is Damian Bozanovsky. The captain for Hume City is Joshua Bingham. Josh Bingham, who's played in 19 games so far this year for the red and white outfit. Been quite the captain for them indeed. Led them through the troubles and the successes. So both teams just going to feel each other out here in the opening stages of this one. Bingham, right on cue. Here's Harker, tiptoeing his way in the middle of the park. Going to clear it out to Debele. Debele, who's got Paikopoulos on him. Ursal now is inside the box, back off to Harker. Could this be a shot here, Debele? Now Bingham. And it has been raining a lot here in Melbourne. As you can see, the pitch is extremely, extremely damp and moist. So a lot of the passes and the conditions that both of these two teams will be used to is going to be completely different. Surprisingly, this season, we haven't had too many wet weather fixtures and wet weather match days. This is possibly the wettest I've seen this pitch here at Naciol Stadium. Hasn't been the best of days here in Melbourne, let's just put it like that. Already Hume going to look to try an attack early on. Melbourne Victory haven't had the best of seasons thus far this year. Have struggled quite a lot. However, I think their most notable victory has to come back in round 18, which is conveniently their last win that they had against the Oakley Cannons, where they ended up beating them 5-2 at Jack Edwards Reserve. And they have been winless since. Their last 5 games, they have been on a 5-game losing streak. Their most notable one, the last round in round 24, going down 4-1 to Dandenong Thunder at home. Here's Lackey, going on the attack already. And James Lackey looking to try and mend the little collision that he had in the opening stages of this ball game. Melbourne Victory sitting 13th on the table. Hume City, as I've already mentioned, sitting 6th. 35 points there on compared to Melbourne Victory. Only just the 15 points, I should say. Hume City, they've had 10 wins, 5 draws, 9 losses. Melbourne Victory, completely different. 4 wins, 3 draws, and 17 losses. It's definitely a season that they'd want to forget. But then again, it is their first season in the top flight. Back since 2016, I believe, was the last time they were in the NPL. This is, I should say, the 4th meeting between these two. It's Hume City that leads the head-to-head battle. 3 wins to 2. The last meeting that happened earlier on in the year, at the beginning of May, on Monday, the 5th of May, I should add, it was Hume City that had a 3-2 victory in that game. It was a goal by Meme Usal, who's playing in this game, along too with Joshua O'Kane and Harry Ascroft. Melbourne Victory, their 2 goal scorers aren't in the lineup this week. That was Jing Reese along too with Luka College. So this 4th meeting could provide us with something else. Melbourne Victory still looking for a first win against Hume City. And already Hume City are making their presence felt here in this one thus far. Already have had majority of the possession and dictated most of the play. So we'll see how Melbourne Victory can try and combat Hume City in this one. So free kick here for Hume City will be Joshua O'Kane to take this one. Who has the hand up directly in the middle of the park. They're going to try and kick it in here, and Mason Tatafu with a header inside the box. Couldn't quite connect with that one. And Hume City are feeling it in the early stages of this one. Going to definitely try and capitalise with the tricky conditions out there at the moment. This is one of 3 games that are happening here in the NPL men's competition at the moment. We have Heidelberg United taking on the Oakley Cannons at Olympic Village. And we have Green Gully taking on the Preston Lions at Green Gully Reserve. However, we're here at Nassau Stadium. Hume City against Melbourne Victory. And already Hume City are just mounting an enormous attack here at the moment on Melbourne Victory. Again, this youth academy program that Melbourne Victory have, promoting and nurturing the up-and-coming talent. Who's going to make it into the senior A-League team? So many players have come from this academy side. Most notable ones being Christian Siciliano, Joshua Insera, and most recently, the most successful one being Casey Boss, who only just as of late signed to Mainz 05 in the Bundesliga on a 4-year deal. It's going to last him until the end of 2029. Would you believe it? He's only 21 years of age. Casey Boss, who was playing in the A-League Melbourne Victory squad. Such a notable talent he was. And his talents have been picked up, and already you can see the slip and slide out there. Mehmet Usal sliding his way through directly in the middle of the park. I have a sneaking suspicion that's not going to be the only slip and slide moment we see out here. Here's Victory. Lackey going to try and cross it in. Couldn't quite connect with anything there. He did try to go to Patrick Wall. It's going to be another opportunity here for Melbourne Victory, who are going to be quickly denied. Still Victory's ball here. Mihalidis. George Mihalidis, who had a big game in that 4-1 loss against Dandenong Thunder for Melbourne Victory. Unfortunate it was, however. He did have quite the game at George Andrews. So watch out for him in the engine room for Melbourne Victory. If there is one player that can definitely provide opportunities up front, it definitely is George Mihalidis. Here's Harker, directly in front of us. Going to clear it out to Ocheng, who's in clear space. Going to just keep on progressing the football. Off to Godfrey Debelay. Godfrey Debelay inside the box. A beautiful save by Gorevsky. Ball still up in the front third here for Hume City. They're going to try and mount another attack here. Ball's going to be crossed in. Tried to go to Bingham. It was O'Kane who managed to header it off in the back. And James Lackey managing to be there in the right space at the right time. And Hume City are going to try and regroup and resettle things. Having to dictate a different type of ball game at the moment than what Hume City are normally used to playing. Normally being that aggressive style of football. This is a clearly different game. Here's Ocheng charging forward. He's going to have a boot. Here's Josh Bingham, who's going to kick it. And that's in. And the first one of the evening going Hume City's way. And it didn't take long. And Hume City have the first. And the finishing touch has been put on that one. And Hume City have the first. And I can't quite predict whether it was possibly the kick that might have gone in from... Might have been either Josh Bingham or it might have skedaddled and ricocheted off of one of his teammates, and I believe it might have been. So Hume City have the first in this one. Undeniably so. Clearly putting their foot in the early stages of this one. And now it's definitely going to be troubling indeed for Melbourne Victory to come back for this one. And a little bit of a correction. The ball did dink off the footing of Mehmet Usal. So Mehmet Usal, he was the goal scorer in the last game, in the most previous encounter when Hume City took on Melbourne Victory. Now also converting a goal in this one. And that's his third goal of the season, Mehmet Usal. And that's the style of play that Hume City want to play here, just managing to find the little creaks and openings. Here's Lackey, going to try and chip it over, and a very close one indeed there by James Lackey. Getting the ball to go up and managing to dip it. However, it was Damon Camilleri managing to stretch right up and over, not allowing that football to go past him in the back of the netting. So 1-0 in this encounter. I was a little bit stunned between who did get the goal there, because it was Josh Bingham that did kick it, but then I wasn't entirely sure if the ball might have dinked off of Linus Burke or Mehmet Usal. So I had to double check that one, but with the correction, it was Mehmet Usal who did manage to dink that one in. But the Melbourne Victory bench was looking a little bit rattled, and talking to the fourth official here, thinking that it might have been an offside call, because Mehmet Usal did definitely look behind the back line of Melbourne Victory. So they possibly thought the goal didn't count, but the goal does stand. Here's Paikopoulos, who also had a good showing in the matchup against Dandenong Thunder last time out. Another player to watch out for in the back line for Melbourne Victory. And we have another offside call here, this time for Melbourne Victory. So we'll have Damon Camilleri here to kick this one in. Ball's up directly in the drop zone. It was Reardon. And already you can see just a little bit of tippy-tapper happening back and forth. Ball managing to be cleared out once again to Lackey, who's been already on the receiving end of a number of kicks coming his way. Here's Bingham. Off to Usal. Hume City working the football beautifully here. Usal managing to get directly in Paikopoulos' face. Confusing the defence. Causing a little bit of a confusion in the play there. And it will be Melbourne Victory's football here. Here's Williams with Harker. And you can just see the amount that the boys are slipping out there. Tough conditions for them. Who is going to get used to it first? The conditions remind me of some of those YouTube challenges that you get where people play football on a tarp with soap and water on it. Shout out to the sidemen and stuff like that. They definitely used to always do those challenges. That's what I'm reminiscing of now. So here's Patrick Wall trying to create separation from Ashcroft. Couldn't quite manage to thread the ball through the back line. And instead it's Hume City now just going to settle the tempo here at the moment. Melbourne Victory are definitely in this ball game, though, the way that they're playing at the moment. They're not allowing Hume City to run away with it, which is normally what Melbourne Victory have gotten used to doing. Whenever they do go down a goal, they do end up conceding quite a few. So we'll see if the same thing transpires here, or maybe it's the commentator's curse. Bingham. Michaelides managing to retain possession. Here's Wall now, trying to progress forwards, and Harry Ashcroft tripping up Patrick Wall there on that one. And the first yellow card of the evening going Harry Ashcroft's way. And that's going to be his 7th yellow card of the evening. Oh, sorry, his 7th yellow card of the season for Harry Ashcroft there. So we are going to have a free kick here for Melbourne Victory, and we'll see if they can convert a goal off this one, which is definitely a really good chance for them with the position of this kick. Be a great little confidence booster for them to get back into this one, especially from a free kick especially. So we have a 2-man wall at the moment being made by the Hume City defence. George Michaelides along to with John Paikopoulos. I believe it will be Paikopoulos who will take this free kick for Melbourne Victory. And a really good opportunity here for Melbourne Victory to try and equalise here at Naciol Stadium. They need it if they want any chance of staying in the top flight. So the whistle goes. And a good little one there, and a beautiful piece of goalkeeping there by Damon Camilleri. Managing to punch that one away. However, it still will be Melbourne Victory's ball, so the trouble's not over yet here for Hume. A corner on this near side. George Michaelides to take it. And the Hume back third directly on that goal line. Ball's up and it's going to be knocked in. And there it is, the equaliser for Melbourne Victory. And they needed that one, and it's Damian Bozanovski. His 4th goal of the season, providing the equaliser here at Naciol Stadium. And we have a ball game on our hands here, folks. Damian Bozanovski, the corner king. Whenever that ball comes in, you got to watch out for Damian Bozanovski. He's always going to be directly under the drop zone, the 19-year-old. Played in 24 games in Melbourne Victory's VPL 1 campaign last season. One of their key players in promotion, and we have a player down here, and I don't believe that looks good there for Godfrey Debele. And we have a yellow card just waiting here. And it is a yellow card going to Parker Williams. And Godfrey, the thud that echoed through Naciol Stadium here. And the entire Hume City bench, along too with the coaching staff, got right up there. And our referee here not hesitant on that one, definitely awarding that one. So Hume City now, it's their turn to attack. Free kick's going to be up. And no one underneath the ball to get that one. So 2 goal scorers here. Mehmet Usal, who kicked the first. Damian Bozanovski, who only moments ago kicked the second. And the first for Melbourne Victory. Proving to be quite the player for Melbourne Victory, Damian Bozanovski. One of the key players in that back third for them. Playing in that centre-back position. However, whenever Melbourne Victory do have a corner, he does sneak up. He just manages to be directly in the drop zone, right under the football, just managing to nudge the ball in the back of the netting, and there was not much Damien Camilleri could do about that one. Too strong. And the equaliser here, we are one apiece. However, still fair play. And play on. Paikopoulos now. He's on the grandstand side. Just slowly marching his way up. Had Debele on him. Debele wanting retribution after that massive thud between himself and Williams. And the mistimed kick, and not the greatest kick indeed. And it was an offside there for Hume City. Already a couple offsides being called. The last time these two teams faced off against one another, Melbourne Victory only had one offside, and there was no offsides for Hume City. And already, Hume City have had a couple. Melbourne Victory have also had a couple as well. So both teams are a little bit etchy. You can definitely tell the severity of this game and how much it means. What's on the line, you can tell that both of these two teams want to get on the scoreboard and claim the 3 points. A win here is vital for both. Giving you a little update in and around the grounds as an almost close attacking opportunity there for Melbourne Victory. It is still 0-0 at Olympic Village between Heidelberg United and the Oakley Cannons, and still 0-0 between Green Gully and the Preston Lions at Green Gully Reserve. Bingham managing to just knock the ball forwards off to Usal. Usal, who's directly in the middle of the park, threading it out to Debele. O'Kane. Had Godevsky on him. And here is Godevsky now. Williams to give it a boot. Ocheng. Back off once again to O'Kane. Here's Wall now. What can Victory do on this occasion here? Here's James Lackey, who's been a little bit quiet in the last couple minutes or so. We'll see if he can fire up again. Here's Linus Burke, going to try cross it in. And Melbourne Victory, this must be their happy zone at the moment on this near side. Definitely gotten close to knocking in a couple, as Bingham and Gozadevsky are going at it there. And our referee isn't going to signal for anything on that occasion. The storyline of the weekend going into this weekend in the round 25. Heidelberg United only need 2 points to cement their place in the Australian Championship. That'll be taking place a little later on in a couple months' time. Already 3 teams in the Australian Championship in the national second tier. That being Preston Lions, Avondale, along 2 with South Melbourne. Them being the member foundation teams. Heidelberg United only need 2 points over the next 2 rounds in order for them to be part of the Australian Championship. If they don't, then it might be Dandenong Thunder who might be knocking on the door of an inaugural Australian Championship for them. However, the way that Heidelberg United have been playing, I think it's very deserving that they are the ones that get the spot. I mean, getting a cup set only just this past week, I should say, against the Western Sydney Wanderers in the Australian Cup. A 3-0 win at home. A very impressive feat. And a good performance by them. And a huge performance by Heidelberg United and Avondale. Avondale knocking down APL Leichhardt. That was at Green Gully Reserve. However, this might be a chance here. And not quite. And you can see the water disturbance right there. The socky part right at the top of the box. Causing a little bit of ruckus there for the Hume City attack. Struggling to knock the ball in. Was Avondale United as well. Sorry, I should say just Avondale. Avondale getting the 3-1 win against APLICA at Green Gully Reserve. So 2 NPL Victorian teams through to the quarterfinals of the Australia Cup. Now Avondale will play Brisbane City on Wednesday the 20th of August. Corners in here. Gordevsky for Melbourne Victory. And we have a player down, I believe it might be Damien Bozanovsky, and is. And Heidelberg United, they'll play Wellington Phoenix. Wellington Phoenix, who took down South Melbourne. Correction, no, they took down Nunawading City. Correction, folks. So Heidelberg United and Wellington Phoenix. That one will be on Tuesday, the 19th of August. That one will be yet again at Olympic Village. Kickoff at 7:30. So far, every single Australia Cup game for Heidelberg United has been at Olympic Village. So it has been a happy hunting ground for them thus far. Here's Hume City, though, on the attack. Here's Josh Bingham directly on that soggy part. Parker Williams coming out of nowhere, managing to get his body directly in front of the football, not allowing Josh Bingham to have a clear shot on goal. And now it's Victory going to go in transition now. No one home on that kick. Godevsky. Going to clear it out to Paikopoulos. Paikopoulos. Back off to Mihalidis. Plays it back through to Paikopoulos, who's going to give it a brute from well beyond range. And no one there on that occasion. A player who has been up and about at the moment for Melbourne Victory is Lucas Alessi, the number 18. You can see him in every passage of play at the moment for Melbourne Victory, kind of getting involved in and out of the play, trying to create space as well on the play. So watch out for Lucas Alessi. He also had a big game in the previous game against Dandenong Thunder. The ball's in here for Melbourne Victory. George Mihalidis tried to cross it in. No one home there. It was Josh Bingham, the captain, managing to clear it away. So the ball will be out of play. And it still will be Melbourne Victory's ball here. Hume City thought for sure it must have been theirs, but clearly the sideline official thought something else of the verdict. Ball threaded through down the line here. Could this be a chance here for Melbourne Victory? Paikopoulos, he's getting a little bit etchy on that far side, really running down the line. It was a good linear ball for Parker Williams, managing to just ace that ball straight to John Paikopoulos. Denied on that occasion, but yet another corner coming up here for Victory. Melbourne Victory, who were knocked out in the round of 32 against Olympic Kingsway in that thrilling contest in Perth. Both Melbourne A-League teams out. Weird to see that the NPL teams are still in the competition. And Mihalidis gives it a boot from well beyond range. However, I think it's safe to say that Avondale and Heidelberg possibly are the two best NPL sides in Australia. With the two sides that they had, I mean, how can you not forget about that contest that they had only a couple of weeks ago at Avenger Park? Avondale stealing the win in the dying stages of that one, 2-1. An electric atmosphere it was at Avenger Park. The La Familia was all up and about in that contest. You can see right here the pitch playing a nuisance at the moment right now for both of these two teams. For Hume, it's on the attack. For Melbourne Victory, it's Whenever they're trying to connect with the final pass up to their front third, I should say. Mouthful of words I've got to say there. Here's Lackey. Going to try and cross it in here. So far, he's been their go-to man for all the crosses. And it'll be Hume City's football here. Hume City's record here at home from 2024 to 2025 was one of their biggest struggles, is that they weren't too strong at home last season. Only had 6 wins at home, 4 losses and 3 draws. Couldn't really utilise Nacional Stadium to their fullest, one of their strong points. This year they've completely turned it around. Still on the same amount of losses on 4, however. Got 1 extra win, 7, and only had the 1 draw. So we'll see what tonight can bring for Hume City. Melbourne Victory on the road last season. I mean, they were flawless in the VPL 1. Had 8 wins on the road, only the 1 loss, and they had 5 draws on the road. Compared to this year, obviously being in the top flight, it is going to be a little bit more trickier to claim those road wins. However, hasn't really been the best. They've only had 2 wins away and having suffered 10 losses on the road. So we'll see if they can add a 3rd here. Haven't had any draws as well, believe it or not. So I'm sure they'd love to possibly split with points here with Hume City. However, I think it's a little bit too early to be talking about splitting points here because we still have a whole other half after this to play up. Bozanovsky was in the back, but Bingham's everywhere at the moment. Not allowing Melbourne Victory to settle in. Definitely disrupting the tempo. And a kick out by Linus Burke. So it has been Melbourne Victory who have been on the attack in the last couple minutes or so, completely changing the tempo of this one. You'd think that Hume City would, obviously being the team that are higher on the ladder, you'd expect them to be all over Melbourne Victory. But at the moment, it's Melbourne Victory to lose at the moment. They're playing a flawless brand of football at the moment. Then again, they really don't have anything to lose right now, so they're definitely proving a point. Beautiful ball out to James Lackey, who's got space. Going to thread it back off to Jonathan Kellis. And a beautiful piece of goalkeeping once again by Damon Camilleri. Not allowing Melbourne Victory to go up on the score sheet with that one. Jonathan Kellis, who had the only goal last time out against Dandenong Thunder. And here he is yet again, managing to kick the ball off to himself. It was Mason Tatafu slip and sliding around, not allowing him to get there. Mason Tatafu, who was signed in that mid-season transfer, a former Perth Glory player back in 2020 and 2021, actually made his first A-League appearance against Adelaide United in the 2020 season. Ended up playing 16 games for the NPL Western Australia side. It was a very good-looking chance there by James Lackey and for Melbourne Victory inside the box. James Lackey definitely getting etchy for some action on the score. The current Melbourne Victory under-23s player. He's played 13 games for them. Had 4 goals in the under-23 squad. And we've got a player down here for Melbourne Victory. So far, 1-1 at the moment here at Nacional Stadium while we wait for the player to get attention. Both of these two sides, a very even matchup at the moment. Melbourne Victory completely bringing it to Hume City, not allowing Hume City any breathing space whatsoever. The talking point in my book was, how can Victory stop Hume City? Because once Hume get going, they are a very hard team to stop. Often at times they are moves, steps, and pretty much plays ahead of their opposition, but they've been a little bit stunned here at home against Melbourne Victory, who are taking Hume City's best shot. However, Hume City, they do have a couple outs. Obviously, no Lloyd Isgrove, along too with Birkan Kirdar, their leading attacker. Birkan Kirdar, who is a former Melbourne Victory player. Played for Victory for 5 seasons. Was an Australia Cup winner as well for Melbourne Victory. Not in the lineup. Hasn't been in the lineup for a couple games. Only played in 22 games this season. He's had 5 goals this season as well. Possibly Hume City saving him. So the ball's up. Bozanovsky and Harker. Harker, who's been exceptional since joining in the mid-season transfer for Hume City. Here's Joshua O'Kane. Off to Debele. Managing to thread it off to Marco Cheng. What can this opportunity provide here for Hume? Could it be? Not quite on that occasion. Going to roll it once again. Mehmet Usal was in the back. Here's Addis. Also joined the mid-season transfer window from Gold Coast United. Along to a former Brisbane Roar player as well. Throwing it in Hume City, but they're just struggling to find that finishing touch, and that ball is going to soar well out. Zahi Addis, as I just mentioned, also locked in with Hume City until the end of the 2026 season, so he will be in the red and white outfit for 1 more year. So far, he's proven quite the signing with the way that he's playing in that left back position. They're definitely not regretting that signing whatsoever. Here's Ocheng. Mason Tatafu. Back off to Addis. Mason Tatafu. As I mentioned, a former Perth Glory player, made his A-League appearance against Adelaide United. Most recently, actually, Mason Tatafu, a former Louisville Cardinal player at the University of Louisville. Scored his first goal, actually, in round 21 against Avondale. He's played in 5 games and scored only 1 goal. So not a bad showing from him, indeed. Here's Ascroft. Going to thread it down the line. Debele charging, and it's Paikopoulos managing to kick it away. So far, Melbourne Victory are taking Hume's best shots right on the chin, and they're just managing to create their own chance at the moment. A little bit of a miscommunication there by Hume City. Melbourne Victory are definitely in this ball game here, folks. If you are a Victory supporter, they're definitely turning it up right now. So it still will be Victory's ball here. We have George Mihalidis down. Hume City, they haven't had the best of seasons here thus far. Last year they finished 5th on the table with 15 wins, 5 draws and 6 losses. This season has been completely different. They've definitely been struggling to replicate the season this time round. This time they have the 3 extra losses. We'll see what tonight can do. But definitely struggling to try and replicate what was a successful season for them last time out. Ended up getting to the preliminary finals. Going down to South Melbourne 1-0 in that preliminary final. Managing to topple Heidelberg United in the elimination final as well. It is finals time as well here in NPL Victoria, as we slowly wind our way up next week. All the NPL men's games are all going to kick off on Saturday at 3 p.m. Not allowing for any match fixing or anything to happen. In the NPL finals, the elimination final, 3rd is going to take on 6th. 4th is going to take on 5th. If the season was to finish now, Dandenong Thunder would be welcoming in Hume City at George Andrews. And it will be the Oakley Cannons walking in at Jack Edwards against the Preston Lions, who they managed to knock off earlier this year in a very impressive 4-0 win. It was 4 goals in the first 20 minutes of that game. The game was over in the first 20 minutes for that one. That game happened behind closed doors, if you can remember. However, now, that beautiful pavilion that is under construction can definitely be done just in time for the finals for the Oakley Cannons. And if the way that things stand, that does look like it will be the second elimination final. That will be fireworks, and obviously the lowest seeded team on the table will take on the top of the table at the moment. That is Avondale. And then the following team, whoever's left, will take on Heidelberg United. And obviously the winners progressing to the grand final. So exciting stuff still to come here. Next week is going to be fireworks. Still a whole round of football here over the weekend. So a free kick here for Hume City. A 2-man wall for victory. And it'll be booted away by George Michalidis. So Mark Ocheng will take this corner for Hume City. Haven't had any real attacks Hume City has. Ball is in, and a beautiful set of goalkeeping there by Graskowski. Managing to knock that one away. Daniel Graskowski, the goalkeeper, played for Melbourne Victory's VPL 1 side. Played 10 games in 2024 this season. He's played in 10 games as well. Taking over the job from Johan Sultan, who has been the goalkeeper in a couple of the matchups this season. Graskowski to kick it in. And that one will be kicked away. So a couple last-minute efforts here for Hume City. What can they try and roll on here? Sure, they'd love to get back on the scoreboard, go into half-time. And instead, that will be half-time here at Nassau Stadium. The opening goal by Mehmet Usal saw Hume City go up 1-0. However, it was the equaliser by Damian Bozanovski from the corner, giving Melbourne Victory the equaliser, and it has been a pretty even matchup ever since that last goal that happened. What will the second half have in store for us here at Nassau Stadium? It will be very interesting to see. We can see the coach of Melbourne Victory having a bit of a stern word with the referee. Not sure if any...
Let's go.
Welcome back here to Nassau Stadium. And this round 25 clash between Hume City and Melbourne Victory as we get ready to get proceedings underway here in this second half. It is one apiece here as we just await kickoff. It was a first goal by Mehmet Usal from the kick by Josh Bingham that gave Hume City the early 1-0 lead, and then the corner that came about 10 or so minutes later that was converted by Damian Bozanovsky, his fourth goal of the season, giving Melbourne Victory the equaliser. And ever since that goal, it was Melbourne Victory that were basically in control of that first half. It was weird to say that Hume City were on the back foot, especially here at home. I mean, they are such a strong team at home. The ground definitely suiting the way that they can play. Obviously, a very wide ground here at Nassau Stadium, working really well for them. And Hume City were on the back foot for a lot of that first half, really struggled to find the rhythm and really get into the game. Melbourne Victory had them beat on all aspects of the ground, but we'll see what this second half can provide. Maybe their little halftime pep talk has definitely changed things up. So we'll see if Hume City can really fix and tie things up, really clean things up. It'll definitely help their chances. Again, they are in a big-time battle at the moment between themselves and Dandenong City for that last spot to get into the finals at 6th position. I'm sure Hume City would love to get into back-to-back finals. And I'm sure Dandenong City would as well. I mean, they've had a phenomenal back end of the season, managing to just knock down win after win after win. Hume City have definitely struggled this year. Not their greatest of seasons than to what Hume are known for doing. We'll see if they can convert a goal here in the early stage of this one. Usal will try and keep the ball in play. And it will still be, and correction, our referee awarding it to Melbourne Victory. It's been a bit of a chilly evening here thus far here at Nassau Stadium, might I add. Obviously quite the wet and damper day. 10 degrees here. It is quite known for being notoriously cold up here at Nassau Stadium. Obviously raining quite a lot. Smoke is being breathed out of myself and the cameraman's mouth here, so definitely a cold one here at the moment. However, we've definitely been entertained with a nice and hot, spicy clash out there on the pitch between both sides that are going hammer and toe. You can tell this is a matchup that means a lot for both these two sides. Melbourne Victory, they're down in the relegation zone. And boy, would they love a win to really keep them from going out in immediate relegation. To try and get into that playoff spot will be fantastic for them. Obviously, in the VPL 1, there will be a playoff race that will happen between the teams that finish from 3rd to 6th. And slowly wrapping its way through to one playoff team that will take on the third bottom team in the NPL. They'll play off in a playoff game. That winner, the prize, I should say, a spot in the 2026 season in the top flight competition. A lot up for grabs. Melbourne Victory, they would love to stay in the top flight. Well, the performance that they've had here tonight definitely shows why they definitely deserving of. However, it's to say that their season hasn't really been the most consistent. Here's Usal. Clearing it out to Bingham. Tried to give it back off to Usal, who was charging forwards. And it's Melbourne Victories. And they're going to look to try and attack now. Managing to kick it off. Here's Wall, who could have gone for goal, but didn't. Just waited a little bit too much. And it was Mason Tatafu coming out of nowhere, managing to keep him from attacking. And it's just been little slight decisions like that that kind of let down both of these two sides, really. Decisions whether or not they should go for goal or kick it off to another player. It's kind of been the tale of the game here thus far, so we'll see what they can provide here. We might have another opportunity here. Patrick Wall's going to go for it, and there it is. Melbourne Victory take the lead in this one. Patrick Wall, his 7th goal of the season, and Melbourne Victory lead at Nassau Stadium against Hume City. And that one is not going to sit well with Hume City whatsoever. And as I was mentioning before, that first half quite literally dominated by Melbourne Victory, with a lot of the possession being in their favour. That one is definitely going to leave a mark on them. And well deservedly so, considering how Melbourne Victory have played, really dominating the possession, not allowing to really fall into Hume City's play. They definitely come out here and just really showed Hume City who's who at the moment. And I think on paper at the moment, I think the roles are reversed. I think Hume City might be sitting down the bottom of the table and Melbourne Victory might be in their position. However, never say die. There is a reason why Hume City are in the position where they're in. So we'll see what they can provide. An answer will be imminent in order to try and restore some of their finals hopes. They would love to get into back-to-back finals, I'm almost sure of it. Here's Ashcroft. Throwing it down off to Mehmet Usal. Off to Bingham. Bingham couldn't quite connect with the pass. Melbourne Victory really bombarding the football wherever it is at the moment. Always managing to just really close up. Here's Jonathan Kellis now going to get a shot from well beyond range there, from well deep downtown, and not quite connecting on there, really putting Damien Camilleri under enormous pressure there. And that one, you could almost bet your bottom dollar, could be almost the finishing touches in that one, had that one gone in the back of the goal. Melbourne Victory are ransacking Hume City at the moment. Hume really haven't got a reply. They really haven't got a reply at the moment. So another corner coming up here for Melbourne Victory. At the moment, this is a one-way affair at the moment. And Melbourne Victory, they've got a couple players inside the box for them at the moment. We'll see who can try and knock it in. Ball is up. Camilleri managing to fist it away. Here's Godevsky. Here's Bozanovsky, who's always managing to find himself right on the attacking line. He has had so many opportunities to score a goal this season. Already converted 4 this season. Damien Bozanovsky, such a versatile player. Not only is he a strong centre-back for Victory, but he can also convert goals when you need him to. And that's almost definitely a sign of a really experienced, versatile player. Considering he's only 18 years of age, definitely got a whole heap of experience with him. And that Bozanovsky name, he's got to live up to it. Here's Hume City in transition. Mehmet Usal bullying Graskowski under enormous pressure. And a beautiful piece of goalkeeping it was by Graskowski. Not allowing Hume to convert with that one and put the equaliser on the scoreboard. However, they got another corner here. So we'll see what they can do from this occasion. It will be a good opportunity here for them if they can equalise. We'll see what they can provide of it, though. Whistle goes. Ball's up. However, the player did slip directly on the ground there. And you can see here this transition counter-attack here. Jonathan Kellis managing to thread it through here directly in the middle of the park here. Could this be? Took way too long there. Indeed he did. Was Lucas Alessi. However, didn't really have an option because he was right in the mud, and that muddy part really caused a whole heap of havoc for Hume City in that first half. We saw Josh Bingham along too with multiple others get involved in that massive wet patch. So I don't blame Lucas Alessi for not really having a real shot on goal, because if he did, who knows where that goal would have soared. Maybe even worse, could have even done an injury of some sort. Not much traction out here considering it is such a wet pitch. A whole heap of rain today here in Melbourne. And the pitch is reflecting it at halftime. We did have one of the officials from Hume City come out to try and squeeze out some water from the middle of the pitch, right in the direct middle, right where that kickoff position is. But to what extent it has worked, we're not really too sure at the moment. However, proceedings will still keep going at the moment here. One of the other questions that I had coming in here was who really needs to step up for Melbourne Victory when it comes down to clutch time. Obviously, such a young team that they have, you don't really know who is really going to step up when it means most. And at the moment, considering in the position that they're in, you've had a couple of players that have really managed to really hold their own. Patrick Wall has definitely been one. That man who just slipped. James Lackey, he's definitely put on a well-earned performance here. George Mihalidis, definitely been a player to watch out for. Along too with Lucas Alessi, who's been in and around the football on a fair number of occasions here this evening. Could add Charlie Godevsky as well into that fixation as well. Definitely a player to watch out for in the future. So Melbourne Victory fostering the young talent. We'll see if any of them can work their way up into the A-League squad. They've got all the tools at their disposal, only using them. That's where the real question is. Looking at some of the scores in and around the grounds at the moment. Another 2 games happening in the NPL Victoria men's competition. Only moments ago, we did have a goal by Heidelberg United, going 1-0 up against the Oakley Cannons. Still 0-0, however, between Green Gully and the Preston Lions at Green Gully Reserve. And here, Melbourne Victory, very surprising 2-1 lead against Hume City, which I'm sure has really shocked a lot of people, including myself. Actually, was not expecting Melbourne Victory to come out full guns blazing and walk into Nasio Stadium and really demand this type of ball game. Here's Ocheng, who was settled inside the box but couldn't quite connect with a kick. So we will have a couple substitutions getting ready to check in here in this one for Melbourne Victory. We'll get you the substitutions right when they do make their way on the pitch. And the first substitution slowly making his way ready to go. It will be Kane Razmovsky, who made the start last time out against Dandenong Thunder. This time out on the substitutions bench. He will be the first substitution for Melbourne Victory. However, what can Hume City do? Here's Debele, who's bombarded on a 2-on-1. Clears it out to O'Kane. Back off to Ascroft. Joshua O'Kane, who's all alone in clear space, going to take a couple steps forward. Here's Ocheng, back off to Joshua O'Kane here. A good little opportunity here. Back off to Godfrey Debele, who's going to take a shot, and it's the side of the netting. And a good sequence of play there indeed. And we do have a substitution coming on here, and we will see Kane Razmovsky coming on and off will come Charlie Godevsky. So the first substitution of the evening. And the starter who started out against Dandenong Thunder will be coming on and changing out. And his day will be done and dusted will be Charlie Godevsky. Kane Razmovsky played in the VPL 1 for Melbourne Victory, played in 23 games and scored 1 goal last year. He's played in 14 games thus far this season for Melbourne Victory. And out on the pitch he is. So we'll see what he can do for Melbourne Victory. A new fresh pair of legs. What can that do for Victory's chances here this evening? Already, I mean, they are in huge control of this one at the moment. So we'll see if they can do anything else with this. They are in complete control here. Oching just waited a little bit. He was a little bit too eager there, was Mark Oching, to take that free kick. Mark Oching from Kenya. Played 4 seasons with Adelaide United in the A-Leagues. Played 29 games, scored 2 goals. Was also a 2015 and 2016 A-League champion with Adelaide United. However, currently joined Hume City last year, played in 25 games. Here he is right on cue, Mark Ocheng, going down on that play to Patrick Wall. Still will be Victory's ball here. John Pikopoulos to throw it in. Ashcroft and Kellis. Kellis was making a beeline for it. Definitely wants to get on the scoreboard. He was the only goal scorer out last time against Dandenong Thunder. I'm sure he'd love to get on the scoreboard here as well. This will be the first win since round 18 for Melbourne Victory if they can pull off this win. However, Godfrey Debele might have something to say about that, who's directly on the edge of the box. Couldn't quite connect with it. Victory doing a phenomenal job defensively. Here's Addis, tried to thread it through to Bingham. Hume, they had an opportunity, but just the number of bodies that Melbourne Victory had made it really, really difficult for them to try and attack. To try and really have a clear shot on goal. What does Hume City need to do? Well, you can see Melbourne Victory really playing it strategically, not allowing Hume to really come anywhere near the corridor. Oching tried to play it through. Unsuccessful in doing so, but Melbourne Victory, they're just bombarding the middle of the park right now, and we know a lot of Hume's attacks, they do like to go through the middle. Try to play that ball through. Good little sequence of plays that they like to run, and at the moment, it's not really looking too well for them. Struggled on a number of occasions to try and pin the ball through the middle of the park. They've had to resort to crossing the ball in. Definitely something new for Hume. I mean, the one goal that was scored was directly from the middle of the pitch. Ball is in. And nothing awarded on that occasion. So it will be Daniel Graskowski to kick it in, the goalkeeper. The way the things stand at the moment, I want to go back to the other game that's happening at the moment. Heidelberg United. They only need 2 more points to really cement themselves in the Australia Championship. The national second tier, though, will be happening later on in the year. I'm sure that they'd love to be in the Australian Championship after the phenomenal season that they've had. Had the cup upset only this past week, knocking off the A-League side Western Sydney Wanderers 3-0 at home. A very impressive win it was. John Anastasiadis would be very happy with the way that his squad are playing. I'm sure the coaching staff would definitely be happy with the way the Melbourne Victory are playing right now as well. Really putting Hume under enormous pressure. Here's Alessi. Tried to thread the ball off to Jonathan Kellis. Ball still in play here. Hume were a little bit confused there. Not too sure what that was all about. And it's Addis who's down on the play there. The other team that's also in the Australian Championship, that's also still in the Australia Cup, is Avondale, who knocked off APL Leichhardt, another fellow Italian club in the New South Wales National Premier League, knocking them down 3-1 at Green Gully Reserve. A very impressive win for them indeed. Avondale and Heidelberg United, arguably the two best NPL sides in Australia. Still in the Australia Cup competition, and boy would they love to really progress through at the moment. Both are in the quarterfinals. Avondale play Brisbane City. Heidelberg United will take on Wellington Phoenix. Wellington Phoenix, who knocked off Nunawading City, stopping their fairy tale run. They didn't do too bad though, Nunawading City, only going down to Wellington Phoenix 1-0. From the third tier down here in Victoria, not a bad showing from them. Last year was FC Melbourne Serbia, who ended up going down to Hume City right here in the Australia Cup. That scoreline also being 1-0. It's always been a dark horse team that's worked their way through to the final stage of the Cup. Hume City, though, at the moment, the way that their season has transpired, I'm sure they won't be too happy with the way that their season's gone. They definitely could have really worked their magic a lot better. Bingham. Back off to Joshua O'Kane. We ran into a massive collision there. And in the meantime as well, we have had a goal scored by the Preston Lions against Green Gully. So 1-0 at Green Gully Reserve. The Preston Lions lead 1-0. Still 1-0 as well between Heidelberg United and the Oakley Cannons. Jonas Markovski scoring that goal for the Preston Lions. And for Heidelberg United, it was no other than Bull Jawach, who's having a phenomenal season. He is the Raging Bull. Adding to the extraordinary amount of goals that he's had so far this season. He's definitely keeping his tally wide open, that's for sure. Last year it was Harrison Sawyer, who was the leading goal scorer in the NPL men's competition. This time round it's Bull Jawach, who's having a breakout season, ladies and gentlemen. 18 goals so far. Make that 19 with the most recent goal. However, let's see if Hume City can reply here. Here's a shot. Denied. And a beautiful piece of defending there. Mark Oching had a wide open goal. Clear as day shot, but just couldn't quite connect on it. And I believe it might have been John Pikopoulos having his body in the right spot at the right time, not allowing that football to come in. That definitely would have made this ball game even more interesting. Corner is in here. Can Hume equalise? The answer is no. However, a second corner coming up here. Hume would love an equaliser here. Melbourne Victory have been dominating this ball game. However, Hume can always pull off something. We'll see if they can pull off a miracle here. Ball's going to be crossed in. It was a good-looking cross indeed, but denied. Wasn't too bad of a cross by Addis, but we do have a foul inside the box to Daniel Graskowski, the goalkeeper for Melbourne Victory. Graskowski, who's had a phenomenal game, might I add, here thus far. Unfortunate the first goal did go in. Couldn't quite do anything about that. It was a beautiful connection by Josh Bingham, and Mehmet Usal. Too good, but he's definitely been on point with the amount of saves that he's had so far this evening. So a little bit of a halt in play here. We'll see what both of these teams can do to try and regroup, what the coach has told both retrospective teams here. What can they both try and muster up here? There will be something if Hume City can come back and get the win here. Good to see that Daniel Graskowski is all right. Also going to be having another substitution getting ready to check in here. Daniel Lazarevski, who also made the start last time out against Dandenong Thunder, starting on the bench this time out. Will be checking into this one. And so far, the way the things are going, he looks to be swapping out for Lucas Alessi, the number 18. And a substitution coming in here now, this time making it official. Daniel Lazarevski will be coming on, and off. His day will be done and dusted, will be Lucas Alessi, who hasn't had too bad of a game here thus far. Lucas Alessi has. Making back-to-back starts he has. Lucas Alessi, the under-23s player, playing 13 games thus far in the outfit, 4 goals as well. Now on comes Daniel Lazarevski, Macedonian citizen. Scored 70 goals in 89 games for Melbourne Victory in the under-16s, under-18s and under-23 competitions. Also won the 2023 under-16s Junior Golden Boot. The 19-year-old now out on the pitch and definitely going to make a huge impact up front ahead of the football. So Melbourne Victory definitely sending out the mercenaries here. No real substitutions yet for Hume City. I'm expecting a whole mirage of them to come on at once. We'll see what impact they can make. Paikopoulos couldn't quite fight the football. Instead, it's Mehmet Usal who's fighting Paikopoulos one-on-one. Can he try and thread the ball through? Answer is no. And too good there, and it was George Mihalidis managing to just kick it out of play, but it will still be Hume City's football here, folks. Hume still looking for that equaliser. Have been goalless ever since that first goal, scored by Mehmet Usal. We'll see if they can convert something on this occasion. Will it be momentous if they can kick it? I'm assuming the tide will be completely diverted. It was a very close one indeed that nearly almost went in. Instead, Daniel Graskowski doing a beautiful job in goal, managing to knock it away. Could this be an opportunity here? Hume managed to progress it back. Answers no again. Here's Addis. Working his way in. He's made quite a fair bit of ground here. Here's Harker directly inside. Graskowski fell down. And so far, Melbourne Victory just managing to have a body directly in front of the football at the right time right now, not allowing Hume to catch a break at all. It is a Victory that are quite virtually ransacking and really shocking Hume at the moment. Maybe that addition of Lloyd Isgrove not being in the lineup might really be hurting their chances at the moment. Lloyd Isgrove, a former Premier League player, played for Southampton, played one game against Liverpool, believe it or not, the current Premier League champions. We all know possibly a different outcome will be out here if Lloyd Isgrove was out here. Bingham tried to cross it in, then not quite. Hume City along two with missing Burkan Kirdar, I should say. Burkan Kirdar, a former Melbourne Victory player. Played in the A-League squad as well. Played for 5 seasons. Burkan Kirdar, a big part of this Hume City squad. Only had 5 goals so far this season, though, so not the best of seasons for him. However, still such a dangerous player he is, but then again, it's good when you've got a player like Lloyd Isgrove as well in the lineup. It kind of takes a little bit of pressure off of you. So about 15 minutes or so left to play here at Nassau Stadium in round 25. And a handball called, there it was, by Razmovski. How can Hume City use this to their advantage? And Hume City just struggling to weather the storm from Melbourne Victory. Victory just proving a little too strong. They seem to be plays ahead of where they are right now. Normally that's Hume City's role where they plays ahead of their opposition. This time round, it's Melbourne Victory just seemed to be really dialed in this one. However, this could be a chance here and possibly the clearest opportunity that they've had. A good ball off to Harker, who's out of the football, crosses it back to his left, going to give it a boot and only just shy of the goalpost there. Couldn't quite connect with that one, but a beautiful sequence of play indeed there for Hume City. That's what Hume City love to do. Get on the counter-attack. They haven't had too many opportunities to showcase that here this evening. Melbourne Victory clearly done their homework on them. The corner's coming in here. Could this be? And a beautiful piece of goalkeeping once again there from Daniel Graskowski, making that ball go right on the roof of the netting. This time the corner to be taken on the far side. It's a beautiful sequence by Harker. Managing to work it to his left. Created the separation. Had the space, but just couldn't quite connect with it. But it was a good-looking ball indeed. Corner's back in for Hume. Graskowski managed to get the header and the hands on it, should I say. Ball's still in play, though, here. And here comes Melbourne Victory now. This is their counter-attack. Here's Lackey, who's in all space at the moment. They got the numbers. Here's Lazarevski, along two with Wall, who's already got one in the evening. And slipped on that occasion, he did. And that's the tough part of the pitch that Melbourne Victory are really struggling with, and so too Hume did in that first half. Just beyond the box. Just a huge piece of mud that's not making it easy for the attack to come in. And just there we saw Patrick Wall slipping up on that play, along too with Daniel Lazarevski. Just haven't got the grip there to really keep going. So we'll see if the corner can help here. Ball's up, headed away by Addis. Kellis now. Here's Williams this time, going to give a shot for himself, and Camilleri doing a good job there at stopping that one. Went straight into his chest, almost routine save there for any goalkeeper. James Lackey putting on a bit of a show there with that bicycle kick, going straight into the chest of Mehmet Usal. And now it's Melbourne Victory now again. Here's Ocheng, trying to tiptoe his way up the pitch. will be a free kick coming up here for Hume City. It has been quite sloppy for Hume City with the way that they're playing. Not really doing things the way that they're normally used to. And with that kick just there by Mark Ocheng, not really going to anyone, you can really see by his reaction and his facial expression. It really does sum up their evening here tonight. However, it's never say die right now. And it's Debele. And Graskowski doing a good job at stopping that one. You can see the Hume City bench just being furious with that. Claiming that Graskowski picked it up, but nevertheless, though, in transition, his victory. Lackey plays it off to himself. Could this be a chance here for Hume? Inside towards the back here. George Mihalidis plays it on the ground. Going to try and have a second opportunity here. Mark Ocheng managed to just kick it out of play, and it still will be Hume City's football here. But a beautiful play there it was by James Lackey. Played it off to himself. Got ahead of the football. Really utilised the passage of play. And Hume City are definitely rocked here in this play. They don't know what to do here. Melbourne Victory have got them completely rattled. Ball's going to come in once again towards the back. There's Lackey. Long two with Jonathan Kellis, who's trying to fight O'Kane for it. O'Kane's going to clear it out directly to Paikopoulos. Paikopoulos has had a sensational night here tonight. Had a couple attacking opportunities, should I say. It's a mouthful of words to bust out. And we have a player directly down in the middle of the park here for Melbourne Victory. Dealing with some cramps already, you can see. Lazarevski's come to, I should say actually, Razmovski's just come to stretch his legs. The medic has come on as well in the meantime. So about 8 or so minutes to go here of regular time before we do get a couple minutes of additional time as well. Hume City passing on the paper as well to get some substitutions out there on the pitch as well. We'll give you that player who does come on when we do get it. And it will be Asan Ishak getting ready to come on here. And a long two with Malik Olukale. So Malik Olukale will come on. A long two with Asan Ishak. Off will come Mehmet Usal. So Mehmet Usal's day is done and dusted. And then Patrick Wall's day is also done and dusted. Malik Olukale will come on as well. So two substitutions coming on. One for both retrospective sides. We'll see what they can do for both of them. Asan Ishak, who is of Iraqi ascent, began his career part of the Melbourne Victory Academy. Played one game back in 2020 and 2021 for them. Now part of the Hume City outfit. Played in only 2 games last season. Only had 1 goal as well. And for Malik Olukale, he's only 16 years of age, a youngster. He's only played in 3 games this season for Victory. Make it now 4 for the 16-year-old. Medium age for Melbourne Victory squad is about 18 years old. Even though they are the inexperienced side, you can definitely make a challenge to that here this evening, because the way that they're definitely playing like an experienced side, and often for youngsters like that, maturity is the biggest talking point when you talk about bringing a youngster into the lineup, often lacking maturity. However, this team has definitely matured over the past year, being in the top flight competition against such high caliber players of different teams. You definitely can see that the maturity has really gone up throughout the entire season. Be interesting to see how each player progresses through their development throughout the years, whether it is through playing in the NPL or being relegated back down into the VPL1 competition. Good to see youngsters of their age out there and playing. They are the future of this sport. So here's Hume once again. O'Kane, who hasn't had too bad of a game here thus far here tonight. Was up and about in the last game against the Melbourne Knights. Hume City, they definitely struggled last time out at Tomset Stadium against the Melbourne Knights. That game resulting in a 1-1 draw against the Melbourne Knights. Not the greatest of performances for Hume City, and definitely one that they'll want to forget. However, if that's one that they'll want to forget, this one's definitely one that they'll definitely try and erase from their memory, because this has been a very big outcome for Melbourne Victory, coming out the gates with no pressure. They've definitely got something to prove. And it's that nothing to lose mentality that they've come in with that's really resulted in them having such a strong performance. And the second yellow card of the evening going the way of Joshua O'Kane. Joshua O'Kane, that's his second yellow card of the season. So Paikopoulos going to give it a boot. So far, it's been a contest between midfields who can really progress the football into their final third, and it has been Melbourne Victory that have done a better job at really providing their attack with more opportunities up in front of goal. Both defenses have played really exceptionally well. However, it's just been Melbourne Victories that has been much stronger here this evening. The likes of Damian Bozanovsky, Parker Williams, along too with John Paikopoulos and Linus Burke. However, Melbourne Victory could have another chance here. Here's James Lackey going to his right, going to take a shot, soaring over the crossbar. And James Lackey, who's had a really, really good game here this evening, should definitely keep his head held high with the way that he's played here. So many opportunities to progress the football to his teammates, to feed it through to his teammates, to cross it in. Long two with a couple shots on goal for him as well, just like that one we just saw. Not a bad evening for him. Still a young player he is as well, James Lackey, the 18-year-old. From Victoria as well. So Joshua O'Kane went down. It will be Mark Ocheng to kick it in here. And once again, another free kick. Last time out when these two teams played, there was 11 fouls that Hume City had, 14 that Melbourne Victory had. I think we might be on tie with that here this evening. Could this be another opportunity here inside the box? And not quite an offside call there for Hume City. So we're slowly working our way towards the conclusion of regular time here. Our fourth official has indicated so far that there will be An additional 6 minutes of added time to complete proceedings here at Naciol Stadium. What can Hume City do in that time? Plenty of time to try and score an equaliser. We'll see if they can do so. It hasn't really been the strongest of nights for them. However, for Melbourne Victory, they have been on another level here tonight. And there is our fourth official now, officially indicating for that 6 minutes of added time to be added on the clock. What does Melbourne Victory need to do to hold on here? It hasn't been the best of seasons. They've only had 2 wins on the road, 10 losses on the road. This could really add to their season. At the moment, it's not looking like they will be staying in the top flight. However, Hume City, they have a whole bunch to lose. They are in the finals race between Dandenong City. They're only 1 point separating themselves from Dandenong City. Maybe that pressure might be carried on here into this one. However, they're definitely going to need to forget about it all before they head into their next game that they have. Hume City's next game, they will take on St. Albans Dynamo next week, Saturday the 23rd of August at 3 p.m. Kickoff at Churchill Reserve. Melbourne Victory's next game, they are going to take on the team that Hume City are having a battle with to get into the finals. They're going to take on Dandenong City. Kickoff at 3 p.m. That one at the home of the Matildas on Saturday the 23rd of August. The last round of the regular season before we head into the finals after what's been an exciting season thus far. Also provide you with a little bit of a score update in and around the ground while we're at it. Still 1-0 between Heidelberg United and the Oakley Cannons at Olympic Village. 1 more minute of regular time. And Preston Lions still lead 1-0 against Green Gully with 2 minutes to go until regular time is completed. Big implications still to be played. We'll see what happens for the rest of the weekend and how the rest of the weekend does unfold. Altona Magic, they're going to play the Port Melbourne Sharks at Paisley Park. Dandenong City, they're going to welcome in the Melbourne Knights at Frank Holohan Reserve. St. Albans Dynamo, they're going to play Dandenong Thunder at Churchill Reserve in South Melbourne. They're going to take on the top of the table, Avondale, at Lakeside Stadium. So a couple of really exciting matchups that are taking place in the NPL men's competition. However, this could be a chance here for Hume City. And once again, the story of their night has not been capitalising any of the opportunities up forward. And they've been awarded with a corner here, Hume City. So the last roll of the dice here is imminent for them. And they need a goal here. A point will be beneficial for them. And in the meantime, the Oakley Cannons have kicked a goal to make it an equaliser at Olympic Village against Heidelberg United. So Heidelberg United, they need 3 points, or they need 2 points, I should say, to get into the Australian Championship. If they walk away with just the one, then it'll all come down to next week. Can they claim the 1 point next week, or can they walk away with all 3 then? Or can they somehow manage to score in the dying stages of that one? Only got about 2 or so minutes to go here of regular time. Melbourne Victory somehow holding on. Here's a Luke Hale falling down on that occasion. Again, the ground is very, very slippery. Ground has held up pretty well here tonight, shall we say. Both teams have really managed to cope with the pitch really well. Again, we haven't had too many full wet weather days here in the NPL men's competition. I've had quite our fair share of sunny sunshine days. Weird to say, considering we are in Melbourne and you just never know. In a flick of a switch, we might go from sunshine to rain within seconds. Could this be one last roll of the dice here for Hume? Debele off to Ocheng. This could be a night to forget for Ocheng. Hasn't had the best of nights. And confirmation, it was Campbell Strong who scored the equaliser for the Oakley Cannons in the first minute of additional time at Olympic Village in that one. Still 1-0 as well between the Preston Lions and Green Gully Reserve. And it's still 2-1 here. And the referee not going to call anything on that occasion. Ball still in the attack for Hume. And you can just see the amount of players up forwards. Nothing's going to be signalled yet here by a referee. And then finally, we are going to get possible medic time to come on. So the medic will be sent on here. And just going to wait until our referee does call for the game to be completed. So for Hume City, they need to pray that Melbourne Knights can somehow do the miracle and beat their Croatian rival, Dandenong City, at Frank Holohan Reserve. It will be a task within itself, considering that Melbourne Knights have had a season that they'll definitely want to forget about this year. However, if Hume City want any bit of a chance to fight for finals, they need the Melbourne Knights to try and claim a win or even potentially draw. And then it will all go down to the final game of the last round next week, where Melbourne Victory are going to take on Dandenong City. And I'm sure Hume City, they'll become a Melbourne Victory fan for that one. Ball's in. You can see Damon Camilleri who's pushed in as well. He's going to have a shot as well. Why not? And that will be the game. Melbourne Victory walk into Nacional Stadium, the underdogs, and they claim a 2-1 victory over Hume City. And very fittingly, do they get the job done the only way Melbourne City knows how. Melbourne Victory knocking down Hume City in a very, very impressive performance that no one really saw coming. It was a night where Melbourne Victory were in control for about 75% of the game. Hume City on the back foot entirely, did not have an answer for them. And at the end of it, Melbourne Victory are going to walk away with the 3 points and slowly work their way out of imminent relegation zone up into the playoff spot, bumping down the Port Melbourne Sharks back into the relegation zone. And, well, it's a night that Hume City will definitely want to forget. They need to pray that Melbourne Knights can get the win against Dandenong City. That is full time here at Nacional Stadium. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this one. From myself, Stefan George, and my cameraman here, it is so long here from Nacional Stadium. Full time, it is Hume City 1, Melbourne Victory 2. Oh my God, it's so cold. My brain